Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi, joined by Nicole Sheeran. And it's time for the breakdown of this game. Tim May, 97.1 The Fan, and the one and only Bobby Carpenter, the Buckeye great. Also, you hear him every morning, 6 a.m., 97.1 The Fan, Morning Juice. I'm going to start with you, Bobby. First of all, you got into town today. And Tim May likes to say matchups make fights. How do these two teams match up?
Well, if you look at Ohio State, what they've been able to do, it's the trenches have really what has been turned the battle for them the last couple of weeks. Texas, you look at the games that they've won, they've run the ball really, really well. Lost to Georgia both times, rushed it for under 35 yards in both of those. Vanderbilt averaged less than 3.5 yards a rush in a tight game that they barely won. Last game against Arizona State, rushed it for under 55 yards. This Ohio State defense has been incredibly stingy up front, so if they're able to stop that running game, you push the pressure back onto Quinn Ewers, that's when you can get that defensive front going, getting some pressure. He's not the most mobile guy, so you can really pin him in the pocket and really get it going. So I think that the battle, we talk about passing, everybody wants to throw the ball and all these different things. It comes down to the trenches, and can you win inside?
You know, matchups, Nicole, also come down to who wants it more. Do you get a feeling who wants it more?
Yes. Ohio State. I get that feeling. I mean, the difference between this team before the playoffs versus the playoffs is it's black and white. It's night and day to me. I mean, this is a team that's peaking at the exact right time. Like we've said, they're all locked in more than I think we've seen them locked in all year. And there's a reason for that. They're on a mission. They didn't achieve we all know they had 3 goals. We always talk about it. They didn't achieve 2 of them. But the biggest one is still left on the table, and it's very obvious to me that these guys, especially the seniors like Emeka Egbuka, Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, Cody Simon, the guys who came back, they came back for a reason, and they're not going to give up until at least one of those goals is checked off.
Tim May, I'm going to come to you. You heard what Bobby said, and I love it when you say matchup makes fights. Yeah. You heard what he said. Do you agree what he says, or do you see it differently?
But if you look at the last 2 games, Ohio State's won. What did they do? They shut down Tennessee's run game, vaunted run game, but you know, we're still not sure what the situation was there from an injury standpoint for Tennessee. And in Oregon, the same way, shutting down their run game and then forcing Dillon Gabriel to move around. Because like he said, once you shut down the run game, then you got Tyleik Williams, Ty Hamilton, JT Tuimoloau, and Jack Sawyer bringing a little pressure farther up the field. Don't let Dillon Gabriel run wild on you. But it makes them a one-dimensional animal. Now, did they shut Oregon totally down? No, that was a hell of a football team. That was a hell of a quarterback. It'll be the same thing in this matchup. Is you do want to force Quinn Ewers to have to throw the ball to beat you. You still got to get it done when he does. So it'll be interesting to see if Ohio State can do that Friday night.
You know, Bobby, you played linebacker at Ohio State, outstanding player. You played linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys here in Big D, an outstanding player. You know, I say it all the time, defense wins championships, and I know you believe in that philosophy. This defense, though, in my opinion, ever since that Oregon first loss to Oregon, has been on a slow burn. These guys seem to have an attitude. Urban Meyer always said he liked an angry team, a team with an edge. Those guys on defense seem to have an edge.
They have a huge edge. And you talked about that Oregon game and what that kind of did, turning the tide. And they had a goal coming in, Dom. They wanted to be the best defense in Ohio State history. And I talked to, Cody Simon and Lathan Ransom, Jack Sawyer. These guys would talk about that. And they would be like, no offense. I'm like, no. If you're playing at Ohio State, that should be your goal. I want you to have the best defense ever. And I think if this team does what they can do, this defense could go down as being the best defense in Ohio State history. You look at the evolution of what Cody Simon has become over the course of this year. He's playing like one of the best linebackers in all of college football. Lathan Ransom, a fifth-year senior, leader in the back end. Those guys are really not the most heralded guys on the team. They're not the Caleb Downs. They're not the Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, the big, highly recruited guys that were supposed to be stars. But those guys are the fabric. They are the glue. And if you look at defense winning championships, 4 of the top 6 defenses in college football are the 4 teams remaining. Defense has become a huge part of this. As much as we want to talk about offense, it still resides on the defensive side of the ball. The passion, the energy, the excitement, and also now the versatility and variability. We started seeing some more blitzes after that Oregon game, and I think that's awakened the D-line a little bit, and it's made this defense a lot more three-dimensional.